Hey, morning. Oops. Let me get this stuff. Hey, Nintendo. Oh, cool. Nice. Do you have your do you have like a website or something? You can maybe check it out beforehand. What is it? This song keep playing. Okay. You must have something. Yeah, I'm gonna switch to head drawing quite soon. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna move the tail because I got this nice space here. So there's really no reason to have it run off the page like it did. Yeah, you'll learn a lot of things in my course. Especially that you'll understand that stuff isn't really that complicated. You'll be like, man, if I knew it was that simple, I wouldn't have spent all this money on it. But you can only find it out by spending the money. There we go. That's cool. Now he looks like a lizard. Before, it was a bit strange. Hey, Kill Memes, what's up? Mhm. Where is the lizard? The lizard ear. Hey, already check. Thank you. Yeah, I spent a long time on a project drawing soldiers, World War II soldiers. That word is impossible to say for a Belgian. World, world. You can like add a horn, and it looks like a dinosaur. I like it more like. I usually like my creatures more basic. Drawing practice and lingo practice. Rules. It's almost like Worcestershire sauce. No, I can't tell you. I wasn't allowed to post it. Hey, I got a, I got a message. It's like I figured it's been so long. Did they really like? But yeah, it wasn't an official message. It's just a guy from the company who saw it and is like, "Yeah, you're gonna have to remove that." So I did. Something I can't really like. It bothers me a lot. Like I drew that stuff and I can't show it. Like I mean, I understand it's normal. It still bothers me. But yeah, I won't be doing that again. when you're in the industry, I don't know if you know, but you have to sign NDAs, non-disclosure. It actually hadn't. Thing that happened was I had no idea I published it. I just made the project in on ArtStation. 'Cause I sometimes just use it, and I just put everything on there so I can, you know, transfer files and stuff. It's like a free Dropbox. Because if you upload images, you can like and don't publish them. You can like click on the project and then download the images, and then they're all on there. Yeah. Guess gotta stop being so cheap. A part of my brain is still in student mode. No, I haven't worked with TB Choi. Hey, check out, thanks. She's insane, like insane artist. The ease with which she creates characters is like it's baffling. My problem is that I'm so obsessed by like organic shapes that I always choose to draw faces, uh, these kind of creature designs. Anything that's kind of like organic, I really enjoy drawing. Um, clothing design, not so much. This backpack is completely wrong perspective. You should see the top of that thing, I think. And this one also a bit more. So see the top. Normally the paratroopers have like an eagle here. What do I have here? It should be like a little kitty. This is my obsessive nature. Like if I do something and then I don't like the stupid the way the stupid cat looks like, I'll spend like an hour and then my day's over. There we go. That's better. Oh, see? It's like I'll just keep changing 5 pixels, 5 pixels on my drawing. A drawing that I already finished. Okay, 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 okay. So what's everybody doing today? It's a good day today. I'm feeling very happy. Even though the world is kind of in turmoil, I guess. I mean, I've been kind of depressed because of that, but today I'm feeling pretty good. Don't know why, but I really obsess about all this, all these wars going on. When like the Ukraine war broke out, I was glued to my computer for I don't know like a whole week. Couldn't sleep. It's like thinking there would be like a you know like an imminent defeat or something from I don't know either side. Just waiting for stuff to happen, I guess. Oh yeah, I can give him like meat. It looks good. Yeah, that's good. Tongue. So what's happening in your lives? Let me know. Maybe we can talk about some stuff. Otherwise, it's kind of boring. how did everyone get into drawing? What was like the driving the driving force for you? For me, it was uh, video games. Um, I saw some concept art for Age of Mythology, and I just thought that was so cool. I was into games like I always like the like uh, the manuals. When you used to buy a game, it was like in a little box. You open it, there's a CD inside, and there's like a manual basically, um, and they were all always like nicely illustrated. For example, like the uh, Diablo 2 manual had some really cool illustrations. But yeah, I saw those as like illustration, right? And it didn't really like you're used to seeing that, right? Illustration, you're used to seeing illustration. Um, and it those drawings, like I liked them, but it didn't really like unlock anything. Like, but when I saw these drawings, and I'll show you these drawings, they were released um, together. You know, when they were announcing game Age of Mythology, they're releasing these drawings, and it's just something about like the unfinishedness of it. You know, made me realize more like, oh, there's somebody drawing them. and I don't know who this artist is. I always wondered, the Age of is that a AI? Oh my god, disgusting. Look, that's pretty cool, right? You know what I did? Um, right. I think they're still online. Here. This is on the on the official. These are my first. Oh wait, who's that? Did I get a raid? How many people joined? Hello, Pokuri Mio. Hello. I was just explaining uh, how I got into drawing. I was saying, yeah, that I found like concept art from Age of Mythology, and it made me want to, yeah, become a concept artist myself. It's like this drawing, for example. And the first thing I did was my first ever digital works are these three paintings, which were painted with a mouse when I was, uh, let's see, when did that come out? Probably like, I was probably like 15 years old or something. And I colored them with a mouse. I was doing like Photoshop for websites, because I made like websites when I was 15. Uh, Also about the game. And then yeah, they released this game, and it's like, oh, I want to try and colorize those concept art stuff. And I did pretty good on the face, I feel. I was so proud of, I remember being so proud of, yeah, I didn't draw them, by the way. These are drawings from the concept artist from off Age of Mythology. I just colorized them. Right? So you can see here, this is the drawing, and then for some reason mine doesn't have a beard anymore. I guess it was the pencil sketch they also posted. Look, I even tried to do lighting. I was already proud of like coloring everything, giving everything like colors, right? But I even tried to do some lighting. I remember being super proud of getting these leather scales to look three-dimensional. You can see it, right? And this is the type of stuff I did in Photoshop, like use a lot of color dodge function, radial blur, you know. Like my favorite thing to do was like, for example, I would take a photograph. See if I can take a photograph. Let's see, a random photograph. Let's take this reference photo. Things I did was like filter, blur, radial blur, and then do the zoom thing like that, and then put it on overlay. It's like, wow, look how cool this is. And then, you know, make some what else did I do? Like fire stuff, fiery letters and stuff. It's funny. It's funny how that stuff seemed so complicated, and then now you're like, yeah, but it was just a radial blur filter. I followed all these tutorials, like maybe they're still online, like how to make a Mac. Like this kind of tutorials, you know, how to make a realistic bubble, Mac button. Like this kind of stuff. How to make this. I still remember. Wonder if I still remember. You had to like make a selection, then use the levels. Anyway, I'll just continue drawing. Anyone else has a story how they got into drawing? Should really check Focus Art. All right, sure. Yeah, Focus. Please post post your link or something, where I can find it myself. Bokuri Mio. Sweet. I'll follow you. Yeah, you rated before, right? Nice, really nice. That's a cool sketchbook. Gorillas. This is cool. Cool sketch. Turtle eating lettuce. Nice, very nice. I draw daily, that's good. Oh no, sun. I have a Pokemon hat. What do you prefer, the Pokemon hat or the Luffy hat? This is to block the sun a bit. Look, I can use this tool, the spot healing brush tool. If you have like a sketch line that shouldn't be there, you can use that. You can use that tool, and it's smart enough to like fill up, to like connect the lines underneath, usually, and then it just disappears. Ain't that something? Sometimes you need to touch it up a little bit, of course. It's not perfect. See, that's where AI helps you, you know? That's also some kind of AI, right? Damn, Poku, you really got me some viewers here. I was thinking I was still talking to like 23 people. How is everybody? Hope you give me a follow if you like what I do. I'm a concept artist working in the game industry for how many years? Started when I was 21. I'm 38 now. No, wait, I started when I was 24, 28 now, so 14 years working as an artist professionally. Hmm. I've worked a bit for everything. Um, uh, for advertising, I worked for video games. I've worked for animation, 3D animation, like video game animation. Also for like Pixar style animation. Right now on Twitch, the thing I do on Twitch mostly is work on this digital sketchbook in pencil, digital pencil. I'll guide you through it for a second. Um, so I'll explain a bit. I used to have a job as a portrait artist, and one of my assignments was like I had to do like a, oh, that's cool. I had to do like a pencil portrait for this company. Um, so I created this brush to do like, you can see like it's like a kind of like this kind of brush, right? And I made it to like touch up these pencil drawings, because often when you scanned it, you know, like the scan wasn't that good. I didn't have that good of a scanner, so I touched up the drawings. So I made this pencil brush, and then years later I rediscovered it, and then I thought maybe I should do like Moleskine type of thing, but digitally, because it's fun. You know, I like working digitally because it has some, you know, obvious advantages. And I always feel less scared to make mistakes on yeah, when I work digitally. So this is, and you know, I love using like the scaling tools and the move tools and stuff, right? You can just select a part of the drawing, move it around. And it also works very well with streaming, because you know you don't need like cameras and like these kind of sticks, you know, this stuff, this kind of stuff, you know, this kind of stuff, which is always in the way. Um, so yeah, I started working with this pencil. Um, in this sketchbook is just a photograph of a moleskin that I put on top, right? And yeah, the idea is to use a very simple tool, right, and then get better at drawing basically, without using any fancy tricks. So I never change, I almost never change the size of the pencil, right? Sometimes I change it to 4, because sometimes you like you need to do like a sharp detail in like in the eyes or something, right? Usually I try to use it at the size, at the 6 pixel size, and then yeah, it's the same thing. Like if you working on something smaller, you have to kind of make different decisions. If you make a portrait this big, right, you get a lot of resolution to work with, right? But if you work really small, the stroke is different, and you have to think a little bit different. It's the same thing when you work traditionally as a comic book artist or something. This little fella I drew for like the birth card of my youngest son, um, but it got vetoed by my girlfriend, so it was unused. Um, I kind of made this animation for her too. Which I'll show you. It's like maybe you can send like a digital a digital postcard. How do you like this? Anyway, let's continue. I'm using a Cintiq to Cintiq 24 to draw. Um, yeah, it's a really nice tablet. I've heard people sometimes complain about Wacom. It sucks when you get like a product that doesn't work. I used to have an Intuos tablet, and you know, because of their planned obsolescence, they made like the connection between the computer bad, right? So, but I would just put it in my bag, and it would keep breaking at that point. So, because of like warranty and stuff, I got like 3 new tablets because it kept breaking. It was because of the way I used it, right? I put the the charging cable, and then I kept it inside and then wrapped it around the cable around the Wacom and then put it in my bag. But that, that caused like friction in the little charging thing on the inside, so it would keep breaking. But they couldn't say anything, so they like had to give me like 3 new tablets. So anyway, here's another one I drew. She also didn't like this one. I don't know why, but I also wanted this to be on the bird card. Now this was drawn after, and I used the photo of the baby to as a reference. Obviously, it doesn't look like that. And yeah, so most of these are drawn from imagination, but I also draw from reference. Like these two here, these two figures are, yeah, drawn from reference. But I usually try to uh, add something of my own to it, right? So this one is from Pinterest, right? The girl is pretty much just a copy, but then on the Pinterest photo, she's holding a little bear, right? So it's just fun to like add a little something from yourself, and then it's not just a study, right? It becomes like more of a drawing that belongs to your own world, right? This one, same thing, just changed the head, drew the head in more in my own style. um, all the other ones are from imagination. These are all from imagination. uh, these are obviously from reference. These two, they were started from reference, but then after a while, I put the reference away, and then yeah, I just try to finish up the drawing. Um, yeah, from imagination, right? I just kind of get the gist of the character, and then if you put the reference away, you stop being so focused on the copying, and then you can kind of like sometimes you see something in the drawing like sort of like yeah, I often see like a personality emerge, right? And then I try to push the features towards that feeling, right? Let's see, let's continue. Yeah, some more drawings here. Now I gotta be careful because there's gonna be figure drawings. Let's skip those or I'll get banned. These are all, yeah, here I'm just trying to yeah, push the technique by doing some studies. I like to do studies in like, yeah, I like to stick to a certain subject for a while, right? So find a way to draw the figure and then repeat it. So yeah, the idea is that you do it a couple of times, and maybe you do it like 10 figure studies, and then the last one will be like the best one, right? I mean, it's usually not like that. The last one won't be the best one, right? But maybe the eighth one or something will definitely be better than the first one. Right? Some more of the same thing, pushing the pencil technique. These ones are kind of naked drawings, so I'm gonna skip them. Let's see, and then I started implementing a new rule. Is that I'm very obsessed by drawing heads. So what and it's like I need to use this sketchbook as like character design practice. So I made this rule where yeah, that I need like at least two full size figures on the page, like top to bottom, right? Two hands, 2 feet. Um, And then, so usually my approach to these sketchbook pages is to do a full character design, two full character designs, and then fill up the spaces that are left with, you know, with random stuff. You know, can be heads, can be like little creature designs. This one became my logo. This is really my favorite drawing of the entire of the entire sketchbook. Um, so you see full character design, and then a couple of full character designs, and then I fill up the space with random stuff. Little Chinese Yoda. And then you see like these kind of plant drawings, they're very convenient because yeah, you can just pretty much do anything you want with them, right? Any type of shape, it will always look good. Some brainy guy. My version of goblins, greedy fellas. Some portrait practice. Some aliens. Let's see. You guys feel free to comment, or if you have questions or something. It's little Voldemort. This is just the tree branch, guys. Don't be like that. Let's see. Again, full character design. I guess these are my version of elves. Some studies from reference. Oh, Roman. And that's where we're at right now. Now we're doing this page here. This one actually doesn't have any full-bodied characters, so that's not good. But it has a lizard, so that's the sketchbook tour. Thanks. I'm doing a One Piece cosplay today. I only saw the live action, live action One Piece. Is that bad? How is the live action viewed by the fans? So if you want to see like a colored drawing, I can show you. What can I show you for my colored works? This is an example. Here's something I did for the Gorillas art book. Right, so I think it's time to start the next sketchbook page. I don't know why. He looks kind of. Hmm. So what to draw, guys? What to draw? A new page. By the way, if anyone's interested, I'm doing a workshop starting next week. It says February 24th. It's actually it starts Saturday the 6th. Um, yeah, we're gonna do like a deep dive into the portrait. Um, I draw a lot of portraits since I used to be a portrait artist, um, and I really feel my ability to draw portraits really well um, is one of my main assets as to getting a job, right? So here's some portraits I I make, right? They're all done in Photoshop. And yeah, it's really something that comes back a lot um, from clients, is that I often get the remark like, yeah, we were really looking for someone to draw, who was good at portraits. Um, I think in a lot of portfolios for character design, the character designs, they're nice, right? But they kind of fall short because they lack unique faces, right? A lot of people, they tend to draw similar style faces on all their characters, right? Even uh, yeah, like for example, um, a lot of people who draw maybe like in a manga style, particularly, for example, they often go back to like the same faces, and it's kind of like, yeah, it is typical for manga to pay more attention to the outfit, and then often the faces, they're kind of similar, with little differences. But if you go back to Street Fighter art and stuff, that like original Street Fighter artists, they're really good at drawing different types of faces, right? Um, but yeah, even doesn't really matter manga styles or other styles. Often the faces, yeah, people will draw like this similar face on each of the characters, right? Or it'll be like, yeah, like young guy, bearded guy, you know, kind of like that. But not, like there's often not enough nuance basically in the faces. Um, so my course will be mainly focused around painting faces, both from reference, um, as well as from reference and from imagination. Sorry. Um, right. Uh, first first week we'll go over fundamentals. I'll do a full portrait demo, how to create this kind of painting. There'll be a session where I go over all the individual features to give you tips and tricks on how to draw the eye, the nose, the lips, the ear, right? I'll explain to you about this type of pencil rendering, this type of faces, um, on how to cross hatch, how I do the cross hatching, um, etc. So it would be really fun. Yeah, it would be cool if yeah, if there were some more people joining. let's continue with our sketchbook page. Oh. Just gonna do like a start out with a study and then turn it into a character. Hey, thanks, Danon Swanson. some music since everybody's quiet. Hey, feel free to ask me some questions if you have them. Hey, Gaurav. I'm gonna put this one here. There's a lot of mistakes with my sketch. I hope this is okay for Twitch. Hmm. I always struggle to start shading a drawing. Any tips on how to start because it can be overwhelming? Um, yeah, so basically, you know, my system is to locate all the edges and then, you know, this is an edge, right? This is the highlight. Here's an edge, right? For each subform, I look at the edges and then work towards the lightest point from the edge to the lightest point. Uh, and that's really, you know, what this portrait workshop will be about, explaining this kind of stuff. So each shade each section, then move to another. No, you first need to um, establish a value scheme for your entire figure, right? So um, the way you shade is, right, you figure out the overall shape of something, right? So let's say you have an arm, right? An arm is like a cylinder and then a tapered cylinder, right? Kind of like a bowling pin uh, put together, right? So you figure out like how do you shade a cylinder, right? And how do you shade the bowling pin, right? Right? Consider the fact that this is the brightest plane of the cylinder, right? Think of the like the a 3D space, and if you place a cylinder inside, right? The top, depending on the light source, of course, you know, the top will receive the most light if the light's coming from above, right? So you gotta shade the entire thing in like that base value, right? So it's a general to specific. Then you can start adding the form painting. So making the, you know, making the form look round, right? But you already gotta be inside that this value, right? You gotta be in the correct value, right? And then think of like, okay, the bowling pin is actually in a different orientation, right? So for our drawing, you will see that brightest part, right? Because it's oriented differently, right? So that's like the general value scheme of this thing, right? So these two shapes, and then, right, and here there's the deltoid, which is kind of like this, I guess like a teardrop shape, right? Right, and then you think of the subshapes, right? The subshape, a subshape might be, for the deltoid, might be the different, right? A deltoid consists of like three heads, right? Three bulges, right? So those are the subshapes, right? So you gotta, yeah, you gotta account for those too, right? They're like bumps, they're like little bumps in the overall shape, right? So once you, then you figure out those, right? Okay, there's like a muscle there, right? So that's a subshape. Then you have the, what are those called? Like the extensors or something, right? But if you just do this and you start shading each subshape, you'll lose track of the overall lighting, right? So it's this, the overall lighting of the overall shape combined with the form, you know, like all the subshapes, right? So you can't just do like each individually, right? You have to take into account this general shading scheme configuration, right? Or you'll be, yeah, or you'll be, or you'll lose track of the entire value operation scheme, right? So here, you know, you follow this first, right? Okay, that's the shadow, like that. All of this is in shadow, right? Of course, uh, you know, okay, this arm needs to be overall a lot darker than this part, right? And then when it turns towards the light, it'll become brighter, right? And yeah, the theory about all this stuff is simple. Well, not that simple, right? But in practice, it's way more. Of course, it's way more difficult to do. Right? Do you guys, does that make sense? So this is the shadow for this one. This is the shadow for that one. So yeah, this one didn't have like the actual cast shadows. Only had like the right. So here you have the biceps, you have the triceps, and then what's here? There's like the brachialis or something. Here you have the brachioradialis, I think. You have the elbow joint. Hey Jens Curtius, how are you? And I hope this convinces you to sign up for my workshop so we can dive into this material uh, very deep. I'll be using, for the workshop, I'll be using faces as the basis for yeah, teaching. Faces are very difficult to draw. Good faces. I think I got good by drawing faces. I was so addicted to drawing faces. One of the first things I did as an artist was um, I saw so after I saw all this Age of Mythology concept art online, and then I was like 16. I started drawing in class in high school, right? My teachers, they went completely, they're so angry with me. I went to this nice school, where people like they're being steamed to become doctors and lawyers and engineers, right? And yeah, I was kind of like from my family. They were like everyone's like saying, "Oh yeah, you're the smart one. You're the smart one," you know, whatever that means, right? So I always hear this, right? But I hated studying. It wasn't hard for me to grasp, like stuff like math and stuff. I just, I was so bored of like all this material. So I just started, yeah, I started drawing in during class. Um, and some of the some of the first tutorials I found online, it was still primitive internet, right? It wasn't a lot around. You guys are like super lucky with whatever, like there's so much, maybe there's too much information these days, right? There's just so much stuff, right? So I just had these, and it's cool they're still online, right? I found these tutorials from this yeah, polycarbon, it's kind of like what is everything, it would explain how to draw hands, and it's actually pretty good, like he's a good artist, he's not a bad artist. Like I was lucky to stumble upon this information because I came from nowhere, right? I can try and show you where I came from. Um, I recently posted something on Twitter. Let's see. If I can find it. Da, 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 da. So these are some drawings that I did. I was 21 years old, so you can imagine how sucky my drawings were before that. I thought I posted. Wait, I got them somewhere else. Imager. Tell me if it's. Tell me if I have to stop talking and draw again. But yeah, I wanted to show you some early drawings I was doing at that time. So these drawings I was already doing with like a Loomis construction. It would take me like 2 hours to draw like a sketch like that. Yeah, so I found this I found this. So I did this construction. This is where I got. This is basically a Loomis type construction. You know, he forgets to cut off the side of the head. That's all. You know, that's all. For the rest, is good. You know, like that for to start the head, you got the cylinder, right? You shave off basically the sides of the head, right? That forms that like flat plane, and it gives you this line here, the line, right? You got this line here, like that, going down here, right? Um, but yeah, you know, he's not a bad example, you know, as far as, let's see, basic female head, front view, simplified. You know, this stuff was enough for, you know, it was like, oh my god. You know, these little drawings, like I can draw manga now. And now if I see this, I wonder if it's all the same guy. Like, this looks like a better artist. Anyway, this is kind of wonky. I know it's pretty cool. The male body, the male torso. He explained the bean bag. You know, it's good. It's good information. So it's very. This was like in 2009 or something, that I found these tutorials. Right. When I started, I did manga. I was a big fan of the show Samurai X, so I tried to draw manga faces, but I was so bad at drawing that, you know, I couldn't really do it. And yeah, I kind of switched to this more cartoony style, just because I got better results. I'm explaining, if you're new, like, I'm explaining how I started my drawing career, with what kind of resources that I had available. What was I talking about? Oh, I forgot. I was talking about something different. I'm getting old. I feel. We all start somewhere. It's uplifting to see that even professional artists were at some point just beginners. Yeah, exactly. And to be, I really feel like I was a. I've never been like a fast learner or talented. Like all material took me so long to grasp and stuff. But yeah, eventually, if you keep at it, basically, you you'll get there, right? I feel like that the real talent is stubbornness. Or that's like a personality trait that's very good to have, right? I heard from so many people that it wasn't possible to become a professional artist. Um, yeah, I was explaining the school I went to, you know, because I was seen as like the smart kid. I had family members basically telling me I was wasting my talents and wasting my intellect pursuing, you know. I heard this over and over at school from sort of family members. Um, like a lot of criticism. Um, you know, you're so smart. Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? And I did. I listened to them at first. So after high school, I went to visit like engineering schools to become an industrial engineer. Um, it's just like I just felt inside. I knew what I wanted to do, right? Um, and I even started doing in university. I first did architecture because I thought maybe it's like a golden in between, you know. And later when I talked to my parents, they were like, "Yeah, we thought it was so strange that you picked architecture, but it was so like ingrained in my head that like you couldn't pick art as a career from school that I thought like okay maybe everyone will be happy if I do something like this, right? Even though my I never really talked about that with my parents, like they were supportive. I just didn't know. I was afraid that they would say I was so afraid that they would like be angry and say no with me because I wanted to do art, right? So I picked architecture and I did it. I did it like half a year. And the first thing I did when I started doing architecture was buy a sketchbook, a moleskin, and then see how many pages I could fill in a day. So it's just like it was ridiculous basically. Because now I had all this freedom, when you go to a university, it's kind of like the moment where your parents is like, yeah, now it's up to you, right? They weren't like my parents were like that, it's like this is your the start of your adult life. we we're not checking on your homework and stuff, it's like this is all up to you. We're not, you know it's too we're not in this field, so you know you just, yeah, it's up to you now. So first thing I did was take advantage of all this like um, responsibility and do exactly the opposite of what I was supposed to be doing. So it's like, I can just buy a sketchbook, and nobody's gonna tell, because in high school, like everyone's telling me to stop drawing during the classes. there'll be like a parent teacher moments when you're like, "Hey, yeah, the only thing he does is draw, and they'll have like a big talk, they like, and then I would say, yeah, I'll stop drawing. It would always go like that. I would say, uh, yeah, yeah, I'll stop drawing, and I just would just do the exact same thing again, basically, and I would just repeat, to the up to the point where my mom would just, when the teachers would say, would call her, she would say, she would just say, yeah, I know. I didn't know that. She told me later. When the teachers called, they would say, my mom apparently said to the teachers, "Yeah, I know. Is there something else?" I know he's drawing. Do you have any other stuff to tell me? So like, stop bothering me with this information. But yeah, so when I was in university, I picked the wrong choice. I started doing architecture. Uh, I still did like the creative assignments. We went out drawing buildings and stuff, which was a lot of fun. And I would spend like a lot of time drawing the buildings, making like really good, um, how do you say, like observation sketches. I would spend all my time on that stuff, and I would get like good feedback from other students, like, "Oh man, you can really draw well," even though it wasn't that good, of course. Um, but for yeah, the average architecture student is not super good at drawing either. Architecture design is more, it's something different. Um, yeah, and just at a certain point, I was half a year into the architecture studies, wasn't doing very well. I did pass. Um, I did I did pass like some assignments, but then yeah, at a certain point, I was just like, who am I kidding? What am I doing? So yeah, when my dad, like one time at the dinner table, he's like, so how's it going? He wanted to know like how everything was going, and I just couldn't lie. I was also lying for no reason. I wasn't lying. I was like not saying that it wasn't for me. So yeah, I just told him like, yeah, it's not really what I want to do. I want to do graphic, graphic design, which was the only course available. So you in my city, there's a graphic design school, and then you can choose like a specialty. She's like advertising, graphic design, or illustration, or there's like more traditional, like uh, this thing where you learn how to do like etches and stuff, etchings. It's a really traditional thing, or painting, but the painting is like more modern art. So I never took that. So I was able to switch the same year I did the architecture. Was able to switch um, to illustration. And yeah, that's how I started my career, I guess. But yeah, I failed art school twice because I'm stubborn. Yeah, that's what we're talking about, stubbornness as a talent, as a trait to become good at art. So for iSkillex, it depends when you go for. Gorab from YouTube says, "Dude, I was thinking to take an architecture major just because I have this mindset that I could never become an artist. So I thought architecture would be better because at least I can be creative." Um, yeah, that's wrong. Because architecture is not, I repeat, is not, it's a different kind of creativity. You come into this place where modern architecture is, is the base, right? So this the way they think about it is more about, it's like a composition of squares and, and light, so it is very interesting, but it really has to be something for you, right? uh, I made that decision because I talked to like this artist, and he was saying, "Oh yeah, I studied architecture, right?" Then it turns out he went to like this super experimental school where, they could do sci-fi projects for architect, so they're like architect. It was architecture, but they could do like sci-fi stuff, They could say, "I want to like design a spaceport." My school was nothing like that. So it's like, "Oh yeah, maybe I can do similar stuff." Nope. You can't. But yeah, I had quite a. I always felt a lot of pressure to, not be. I was very afraid to be like become a loser, uh, to not like account to anything. So it was like there was like this fear that was also part of my drive. Um, it was also, yeah. I also wanted to uh, disprove all the people who said I couldn't do it. Like, it's not a good mindset, but I have to admit, like, anger anger has been like a huge driving force in for me to get better. Like, I hate to admit it, but I would, even in illustration school, when I got into illustration school, yeah, nobody would like follow what I was saying. Is like, I'm a lot, I'm 38. When I was going to school, to illustration school, video games was not something that was very well known. All the teachers, there's They were like previous generation, so they had nothing. They didn't like video games. You know, they when you mentioned it, it's like, what, he comes some kind of nerd? What's this nerd doing here? Video games, right? It's like Diablo 1 time, you know, at that point. So yeah, they were very far removed from my world. I was very far removed from their world, and my peers too. Like nobody from my age group, you know, playing video games was really like a geeky thing to do. And if you go to art school, you're like, you gotta be like a cool kid. So not many people of my age group, you know, were interested in this kind of stuff. And the teachers were like afraid, you know, like that that I wanted to be like a draw like dragons and stuff, you know. So if they would get like a whiff of that, they would, you know, they would like not be happy. Yeah, they basically did anything they could to discourage you to draw fantasy stuff. It's like it was like, why are you drawing? Drawing is expressive. You have to portray your feelings. And still to you know, still very recently I met up with like an old someone I knew from school, and it's like, you know, we're having like a conversation about back then. It's just this person thought I draw this way just because I'm only interested in money. It's like, what, you know. No, it's like you misinterpreted what I said, you know, like I want to make money doing art. I want to make a living, but the type of art I'm doing is the type of art I've always wanted to do, and I'm not changing my art style because of money, you know, like this is just the kind of work I always wanted to do. Portfolio, don't really have a portfolio at the moment. You can see how quickly this face comes to life. If you want to know how to do this, you gotta sign up for my workshop. Well, I can get you started, of course, you know. So anyone in a similar situation where they feel like it's hard to convince family members or something? So all these people watching, nobody's talking. Just give me some questions. I have this tendency to make characters look like movie characters. I'm seeing like the guy who played Paul in like the original Dune movie. What questions do you want? It's okay. Doesn't matter if you have them. Did you watch Avatar? It just came out yesterday. No, so no, not yet. I think my girlfriend really wanted to see it, but I already heard bad things about it. So, is it bad? I'm usually not that critical for these kind of shows. I watched the. Okay, good. Sometimes people are too close to the source material, and it's impossible for them to, yeah, to ever enjoy it. Really, I think it's like they're too, yeah, they know like the material too well and stuff. Yeah, they change a lot, but it kind of works. Yeah, people are already complaining online about like things the director said, and I guess I heard like that the original people kind of left the project because they're like differences. They kind of mashed episodes together. Hey DMS. Yeah, I mean, I watched the rookie. That I don't know if you ever saw that, but I watched like all the episodes and I was entertained, you know. So I'm usually not that critical of stuff. So the reason why I have this second piece is I took the photo and then I like made everything way darker and increased like the contrast, so it's easier to see the edges of the shapes, right? And how to do the rendering. Because here, you know, you can see it's there. It's not really clear, right? And another thing you can do is to sharpen, unsharpen mask, right? And you can kind of do this, make a higher threshold, and then you can find a way to show those the edges even more. See? So yeah, you make the reference work for you. Hey, Reverence Illustrate, who are you? Am I a gamer? I used to be a gamer. Uh, but yeah, exchanged my gaming habit with a drawing habit. Last game I finished was Ghost of Sashimi. Ghost of Sashimi. Tsutsumi Tsushima. Ghost of Teriyaki. I started playing GTA because I always wanted to play it, but I that after that I stopped. Like I was doing the storyline, but I don't like it that much to continue playing it. Yeah, I feel like drawing is the dopamine provider for me. Like it's even better than games. It's so instant. The feedback is so instant. For drawing, it's like each little line I do, it's like a little bit of dopamine. I feel. It's something you should try to accomplish. Like get the satisfaction, not necessarily from doing a good drawing, but get the satisfaction from finishing a page, right? I mean, it's a combination of both, right? You can't always be doing good drawings. Like if you're, I mean, it would mean that you're not trying difficult, you're not setting the standards high enough, basically. Yo, DMS, thanks for the subscription. I missed that. Hey, Derek, thanks for the follow. I'll start shouting out some people. Follow. I wasn't doing that. I make pixel art. Cool. Yeah, I've tried my hand at doing pixel art in the beginning of the my art journey. Hey, Jens Kirches, thanks for the follow. Hey, James Grant, thanks for following on YouTube. See, this here is what I mean. Like if you right, so here I'm rendering. I'm just rendering the muscles, right? But what's lacking is the overall shading of that, you know, of that sphere, right? So first you got the form painting of the sphere, right? Going to like the lightest part, which is here, right? It's around here, right? Um, So you cannot forget that. And this second one just makes it so much easier to uh, to render. Hey Rodri, feedback on the day. Well, we'll take a look with yeah. We'll take a look later. I haven't done that, but I should get back into that. It's just yeah, so many people. Skillex, yeah, that this one is this picture. I just made it a lot darker, and I closed up the midtone. I darkened the midtones. I darkened the shadow, and then I sharpened the image with a smart sharp filter, so it accentuates the edges more. And it's way too big. I've set the bottom of my Wacom is like a in the Wacom program you can kind of do macros, multiple commands. So this one it triggers. I know this one triggers an action the action hides this layer, copy merges the selection, pastes the selection, and applies and does Control T. So what happens is when I use that button, when I do this, I can have a hidden layer, and I press enter. Now I have a copied piece, right? And I have it do Control T, so I can, you know, if I want, I can like warp it, right? And have do some special trickery. Other things I could do, for example, to speed this up is um, it's like apply a gradient like this, for example. Set it to something like color burn. Um, and then sometimes it can be helpful if you want to like reach this more of that that idea. Just sometimes like a little bit can help you already. You can see here, you know, the entire face is way darker, more midtones. Because you don't necessarily need to follow your reference exactly. You can make choices, artistic choices. Hey, Mad. Let's give these legs a base tone first. If you don't remove the white from your page, you're gonna have a hard time getting the correct feeling to the values. Hey, Takeshi. Hey everyone, if you like my content, consider following. How to sign up for the workshop? You go to Underpaint Academy.com. And yeah, you look for my name, Jens Claessens. Yeah, my way of rendering is I 100% follow some kind of old master system, basically, right? But I've streamlined it so it goes a lot faster. I don't, you know, it's based on it, but it's just a faster way of doing it, basically. It's without the underpaint. No, I do use the underpaint. It's called Underpaint Academy. I do use in my color work, use underpainting. Uh, Also, my color work is based on old master technique. I used to do a lot of master studies also. It's something I have to say is completely out of fashion, I think. What's good about a master study is that, you know, um, what's really hard is when you paint from life. Uh, you have so much information coming at you. Like lighting is super complex. It's basically you see like not you see millions of values basically, and you cannot paint millions of values. You cannot change your brush, your paint to you know even though you are painting it, right? You are also painting millions of values, of course, because we work in physical space, right? You're not putting them in the right spot, right? Um, what was I saying? um, Man, I really lost my track of what I was saying. Um, what I say? Oh yeah, yeah. Master studies. So what if you work from from a master painting? This painter has already solved this puzzle for you, right? He has made the value choices in your place, right? And you know it works because it's an amazing painting you're studying, right? But he has basically yeah, like um, simplified nature to appear, on a canvas, and he painted it in a reasonable amount of time. Um, Probably spends way they probably spend way more time than artists these days do on paintings. Um, but yeah, so when you copy that, it's like, you know when you study those paintings, they really have the answers, right, to that you're looking for. Because and yeah, when you're painting from a photograph, yeah, the photo has also already done the conversion from 3D to 2D, right? But it's really still too complex to be useful, to be super. It's useful, of course, it's useful, but you know, studying from an old master is even better in that regard. How to do studies the right way to improve your skills. I think it's important when you do studies that you remember your art goal, right? Um, there's something called the study trap, is where you you realize you can get better at doing studies quickly, right? But you end up just doing studies and not moving your art in the direction, losing track of your ultimate art goal, basically, right? Your art goal could just be to be, do good studies, if you're like a hobbyist or something. um, or maybe, like, it could work on social media, like just be a popular social media artist. You can, that it could be enough, right? But usually it's not. Being good at doing studies is not good enough. You have to find a way to monetize, to get money out of it, right? If you want to have a career in art, you need marketable skills, right? So ideally, the studies that you do should bring you closer to, studies will always increase your technical skill, but it won't, for example, it's just like a, if you do a study like this, right? I'm not designing anything, right? This is just, I'm just copying all the shapes, right? In the end, I won't have something that's super original, Uh, it might be, something original in the way I, you know, portray the figure with the pencil markings, but it's not a design at all, right? So that's very important, uh, to not lose track of that, right? Um, so for me, this is useful because I want to be a character designer, and my subject is in a very good character design pose. Like, this guy is standing, it's like exactly the right perspective. It's like a very casual, still fluent pose. It has kind of like that soft, like S curve in it, right? So it's a very good pose to study to be a concept artist, right? But let's say you want to be good at drawing environments, then this exercise, is not really super useful, you know? I mean, it's useful for your technical skill and your ability to see, value and all that stuff, and to render. It's all, as a general art study, it's always going to be useful, right? But you could be doing something that's even more useful in your case, which is do an environment study, right? Because you want to be an environment artist. It's probably better that you study environments, right? Uh, so I think that's a big thing. So choosing what to study, right? But I think it even goes deeper than that, right? So let's say you're practicing to be a character designer, right? But you're only drawing pretty girls, faces, you're practicing faces, but you're only drawing pretty girls, like you're missing out on this entire range of what the human body can be. Um, and yeah, you're not, you're limiting yourself. So choosing what to study can be quite, can be very, very important. For example, right? You could be studying, uh, and I see this a lot. People are like, I'm gonna draw this kind of, yes, you know, good, good faces, right? Good faces, you know. All these dudes, they all look the same, you know. You're gonna end up with same face syndrome, right? You could be studying this guy, at the same time. I'll show you. You could be studying this guy, right? You could be studying this guy, right? So uh, it will yeah, choosing your subject matters will, can like vastly expand your visual library. If you always stick to like, you know some people have certain, they have certain beliefs of stuff, like they'll pull their like personal ideals and stuff into their art, you know like, I'm not gonna draw any, you know somebody obsessed with fitness, like, I don't like people who are, being overweight is bad, so I'm not gonna put that in my art. These people aren't beautiful. It sounds, to me, that sounds crazy, but I've met people like who think this way. Like, but they're missing out. They're like, being, there's no such thing as being healthy at any weight. This kind of, that kind of stuff. Regardless of whether or not that's true or not. Like, if you say, if you like so vehemently believe this kind of stuff, that you won't even look at someone who's overweight, you know, then you're missing out on amazing drawings, basically, right? When I was in school, we had amazing life drawing models of all sizes, and the ones that had a little bit more weight, they were just, they're more fun to draw sometimes. I mean, it's always like variation is key to keep yourself interested. So different body types. Uh, as a concept artist, you should be able to portray any kind of character, not just the beautiful ones. And time after time, I see portfolios, just filled with beautiful models, basically. All the guys have a six pack, You know, that's the most common thing. If I see a portfolio, you know, they'll all have like this kind of six pack. You know, like that. You know, no, it's like look at this guy. You know, this guy is fit. He doesn't have a six pack. Maybe under different lighting, in different lighting conditions he might have, but usually you don't even see it. Some people, of course, they just want to draw uh, large-breasted anime girls, you know. What can you do about it? Chocolate bar? I missed something, I think. As an environment designer, I regret that I didn't put more time in characters too. Yeah, this will always be the regret. There is some artists who can do both, you know, like take Wesley Burt or something. He can do like illustration and concept art. He could do environment design, no problem. And yeah, I'm jealous of that. Yeah, I used to know this guy. I would have discussion after discussion with him, like about like what you know, what is art and what's not art. I was always trying to convince him to like loosen his idea of stuff, you know. It's like, why would you draw like ugly people? You know, there's ugly people everywhere. You always have to look at ugly people. You know, art should be, when you draw art, you should draw. You know, it should be beautiful because it's, you know, beauty is rare and it's some like weird stuff. It's like, yeah, but you can see beauty in like in anything. You know, it was it was exhausting. I eventually stopped talking to him. A painting of a rotting meat. Yeah, you know, of course, it's true. It's the whole, it's the whole idea, right? Like yeah, what's his name? Lucian Freud. It's like a painter, and I mean, I gotta be careful because he's got a lot of naked stuff. But yeah, he doesn't paint to be for stuff to be like beautiful, you know. He's yeah, he doesn't necessarily paint only beauty or beautiful faces, right? The way he paints it, he paints people probably, you know, more uh, uglier in a way than they would be in real life, but that's just what makes his painting so cool. And he, you know, he paints any type of he paints people close to him and stuff. So he makes the hands like bigger, the muscles more pronounced, and he painted the queen. So like, like how cool is that? Sounds cool too. And when you're painting figure, it's the most interesting part. The face takes like 5 minutes to draw, and then the rest is kind of like rendering the rest. And the more time you spend on it, the often the better it looks. But yeah, and you gotta spend all the time, of course. Still figuring, wondering what I can do to the drawing, make it a little more original. We could do anything to this guy still. Give him clothes. working on the gradient of the legs. There's a gradient on this character. His legs are a lot darker than his torso, right? So again, it's going from the keeping. You always got to keep in mind the general values of the overall thing. If you want to feel like this is in the end like a solid character, you cannot lose track of that. 'Cause it won't be like that if you don't.